Hey guys, it's Michael and welcome back to another review on the channel. If you saw my Gibson M3 review, you probably remember this segment. In the 80s, the advent of heavy metal and shred guitar meant more players were turning towards guitars like the Ibanez RG or the Yamaha Pacifica, collectively known as Super Strats, for higher performance components and better capability for their faster playing. This left legacy brands like Gibson and Fender struggling, and eventually they all jumped on the Super Strat bandwagon. Fender had the HM Strat, for example, which is best left for a video of its own. Well, it's time for that video, because today we're going to take a look at this beautiful 1988 Fender HM Heavy Metal Strat. So in the M3 review, I mentioned that Fender made the HM Strat compete with all the Super Strats of the 80s, like the Ibanez RG, the Yamaha Pacifica, the early Jackson Soloists, you name it. This was when Fender Japan was beginning to take off, so those in charge of Fender were taking note of Japanese quality, and they figured,
perhaps we got guitars over there, maybe the shredders will start buying them.
The HM Strat wasn't their only attempt at a Super Strat. They also had guitars like the Prodigy, the Showmaster, the Stagemaster, and the Japan Contemporary Strat. The HM Strat differed from the others, as well as all the typical Fender Stratocasters, because of its HSH layout, humbucker single coil, its locking tremolo, and its unique electronic layout, which I'll delve into in a moment. And while Fender did start making humbuckers in the 80s, the HM Strat's bridge humbucker isn't one of them. It's actually a DiMarzio Super 3 pickup. Fender equipping one of their guitars with a DiMarzio pickup straight from the factory definitely shows they knew most of their pickups weren't exactly up to snuff for heavy metal tones. So they went with a pickup from a company that knew heavy metal sounds. And of course I made some mistakes trying to do the specs to camera again, just like in the M3 review. So enjoy the B-roll footage while I read the specs off in voiceover now. Okay, from what I can tell, depending where the guitar was made, the HM Strat has either a basswood or alder body, with basswood being the more common choice. Every HM Strat did have a bolt-on maple neck like most Strats, and the first run of guitars seemed to have a choice between rosewood or maple fingerboards. I haven't seen a maple fingerboard version myself, so presumably rosewood was more common. The HM Strat's scale length is 25 inches, versus the typical Fender 25.5 inch scale, so slightly shorter, but still slightly longer than most Gibson scales. As I mentioned, the bridge humbucker is a DiMarzio Super 3, while the two single coils are Fender's American Standard single coils on the American models, whereas the single coils in the Japanese models are just Fender Japan's own single coil pickups. Supposedly, later model HM Strats had lace sensor single coil pickups, although I have yet to see a lace sensor equipped HM Strat for sale or in person as well. The fretboard is adorned with 24 jumbo frets, or medium jumbo frets depending on who you ask, and the fingerboard has a 17-inch radius, very flat compared to most Stratocasters that have a 7 1/4 or a 9.5-inch radius. This makes the HM Strat's fingerboard a dream for leads and bending. Not a single note will fret out no matter what. The American HM Strats have what's known as the Fender Strat Flame logo, with by Fender and a very small decal at the very end of the headstock, and a small stripe underneath the Strat name. From what I've seen, this stripe is usually color matched to the body of the guitar, but not in this case. It's pink while the guitar's body is black. I have mentioned the Super Strats of the day had higher quality components, and that's evident by the Goto tuners on the HM Strat. Just Fender's in-house tuners simply weren't going to cut it, I imagine. Unlike most Super Strats of the time, the HM Strat does not have a Floyd Rose locking tremolo, but a Kahler Spider tremolo. The Spider was basically Kahler's equivalent to the Floyd Rose. A floating bridge, with springs in the back adjustable by a screwdriver, compared to the typical Kahler setup of a top-mounted tremolo with only the rear cam part moving. But just like my M3, my HM Strat's tremolo is set up to be dive bomb only. That's fine by me. The guitar also features a lock nut, which is a must-have feature for a locking tremolo to improve tuning stability. But the Kahler Spider locking nut also includes a single-bar string guide that you feed the string through as it's run from the bridge to the tuner. Another discerning feature of the HM Strat is the so-called TBX tone circuit. In addition to the master volume, these two knobs are actually the TBX tone knobs, featuring an indent halfway on the potentiometer. 0 and 5 is the sweep of a typical tone knob, whereas 6 to 10 is a treble boost, ideal for cutting through the mix for a solo or a lead part. Other electronics include a typical Fender 5-way blade pickup selector switch, and a mini toggle for splitting the bridge pickup into a single coil, so you can get those typical Strat bridge pickup tones even from the humbucker-equipped HM Strat. Fender definitely had shredders in mind when they designed the HM Strat, and that's evidenced by not only the flat fingerboard radius and the 24 frets, but by the asymmetrical 4-bolt neck joint, now known as Fender's modern neck joint by most players. This allows you to reach the higher frets easy without the neck pocket gouging into your hand. Now my particular HM Strat here is a 1988 Made in USA model, as evidenced by the Fender USA neck plate, but also from the wires on the middle and neck single coils. Blue and white on the neck pickup, and red and white on the middle pickup. Get it? Red, white, and blue, the colors of the American flag. And meanwhile, the Japanese HM Strats have black and white wires on both pickups. But the Japanese one does retain the DiMarzio Super 3 in the bridge, with the coil splitter for single coil sounds. Now, longtime viewers of my channel probably know the sound of this guitar from a couple of videos, like my cover of Saxon's Princess of the Night, more recently my review of the Steel Panther Melter distortion pedal. Let me give you some samples of all the pickups clean and distorted, with the bridge pickups split and not, as well as the difference in the tone knobs, from midway on the tone knobs and all the way up at 10. Here goes. So clearly the HM Strat is definitely designed for shredding, while retaining much of the original Stratocaster ethic, and coming from the original brand that made the Stratocaster. But what you can't see in video is how comfortable this neck is. It's much thinner than most Stratocasters, and that makes for greater ease of fast runs, bends, and even sweep pick licks. And those treble boosts provided by the TBX circuit can definitely help your solos push through any necks. And if you're wondering why Fender didn't sell many HM Strats, the same reason that Gibson didn't sell a lot of Super Strats applies to Fender as well. Players knew Fender for the regular Stratocaster, the Telecaster, the Jazzmaster, the Jaguar, and found it difficult to accept something like this coming from a legacy brand like Fender. You certainly can't fault Fender for trying, but enough players gained some hindsight information to generate a buzz in these guitars later. And eventually Fender decided to jump on the 80s nostalgia bandwagon by reissuing the HM Strat in the early 2020s. The reissue differs from the original in a few different ways. 1, the bridge pickup sounded DiMarzio. 2, the tremolo is just a Floyd Rose, not a Kahler Spider, or even a regular Kahler. The coil split switch is a little different, and the electronics are just the basic Stratocaster electronics. Still, it showed that Fender knew that they had something in the HM Strat back in the day. So of course I had to bring it back for this generation. So I hope you guys liked the video, or at least found it entertaining. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss my next video. And until next time, rock on. Bye for now. Competitor to compete with. The HM Strat differed from a lot of The HM Strat, however, differed from a lot of Fenders. Like most Super Strats, however, it maintains the 22 frets. Blue and white on the neck pickup, red and white on the neck... not the neck pickup. But in hindsight, enough players later... while retaining the original while retaining the... oh boy. And those treble boosts... and those treble boosts.